So recently I read an article from Tom's Guide, and they were saying that the Samsung S95B is basically not as bright and as colorful as LG OLED. Yeah, you heard it correctly. So in this video, even though I'm not comparing the same exact LG OLED, want to kind of talk about why that is wrong. And I think we all kind of understand that quantum dot makes a huge difference behind OLED technology. I honestly, personally, from a personal perspective, I don't understand this need to make quantum dot OLED seem like it's not a big deal, or like it isn't the groundbreaking achievement that it truly is for OLED technology. So what I wanted to do is show you a couple of images. I can't play it because of copyright, but you guys get the idea. So to the left, we have the Samsung S95B. To the right, we have my LG C1. To be very fair, my LG C1 is rocking BT 2020 settings. Now, what I'll do is also, again, show you this in real time. If I open up my settings on the C1, and then I go into colorimetry, it's on BT 2020. Now, I can choose to put it into Rec 709, and you know what, why not, for the sake of this video, do that, since that's how all of these AV purists and so-called professionals are watching their TV. Nobody's using BT 2020 but me. So let's stop giving it that benefit of the doubt. Now, for C1 owners and LG OLED owners, you already know what it is. Now, we're comparing apples to apples. Looking at this, you can clearly see there is a massive difference. The yellows, the blues, all of it look way better on the quantum dot OLED. And that can be seen across the board. Look at this image with Big Mom. You can clearly see, for my One Piece fans, as Law goes up and he's getting ready to do his attack on her, the reds on her belt are much more popping on the Samsung S95B. But not just that. Skin tonality in general is warmer, and all colors have more of a real world warmth and lifelike nature to them. Now, my camera will not show you how different they are in real life. Like, as I look at it with my naked eye and as I look at it on the camera, it looks completely different. That's just the nature of these kinds of comparisons. But there is no denying the color punch and pop coming off of the S95B to the left. The LG C1 is an excellent TV, but again, it doesn't look as good or as colorful as the Samsung S95B does. Now, why this is also important is because while yes, I may have disabled the BT 2020 color space that nobody but me uses, it's also important to note that there is no BT 2020 on the Samsung S95B unless you're in HDR, which is why I'm using SDR content to show all of this off. So this is like a fair straight up Rec 709 to Rec 709, and the quantum dots are making such a major difference here. Pretty much the game changer. In this next scene, we can see as the attack fully kicks up, the color yellow is just way better represented on the quantum dot OLED, where the regular WOLED to the right, it doesn't do as good of a job with the color yellow, and it tends to get a little bit more sour. This is one of the most major upgrades from WOLED to quantum dot OLED that you'll see, that benefit of the yellows now not looking as sour. If you've been following quantum dot OLED technology versus WOLED for a while, you know that the blue on WOLED will usually be incredibly accurate, but once we start getting up into like colors like yellow, you run into a lot of problems, especially at higher levels of peak brightness, and you're just not getting that. And then look at the difference between the reds. The purity is out of this world. It is just literally the next level of TV innovation. Looking at Kaido in this scene, it is amazing the amount of color detail that just kicks off with the Samsung S95B, where of course LG by comparison does look pale. Doesn't look anywhere near as colorful as Tom's Guide tried to make it sound. Now, for some people who might feel as though I'm just putting them out there for the sake of clout or recognition, frankly, I don't need that. And also, it's important to note that like this is literally the textbook definition of fake news. a company comes out and tells you that the S95B to the left versus LG OLED to the right isn't the game changer that it is, well, that can be seen as nothing more than them lying at this point, because we see that this is the first TV capable of hitting 1500 plus nits from an OLED. This is the first TV capable of 90% BT 2020. I mean, like, that alone should tell you how much of a powerhouse this TV is. And then looking at content, SDR content like this, it really does show you a lot. My dudes, just look at this image. As Big Mom is sitting there completely and totally shooketh that her boy Kaido just got rocked by Luffy. I'm telling you right now, these are moments in animes you're going to want to experience on the Samsung S95B, like I have it to the left. Now, again, LG to the right, not really looking anywhere near as good. And again, since I'm the only content creator at this point, we can call it what it is, that rocks BT 2020 all the time. This is what literally every single person that has said LG OLED looks better than the S95B is looking at. Rec 709. Every single one of them fact. Meanwhile, you compare apples to apples, the S95B is just destroying the LG. Destroying it. Because when you have an apples to apples comparison, right, and you're talking about SDR, which is where Tom's guide was saying, like, you know, LG OLED was all this more brighter and more capable. It's not, though. And I've compared the LG C1, by the way, for anybody thinking this is unfair, to the LG C2 even. And it did not do its best. I mean, the LG C2, while it's okay in some areas, wasn't as much of an upgrade as I would have hoped. And I found colors actually to be way too similar. It felt like a C1 2.0. So, I mean, looking at this, you can see, again, more of the disparaging differences in color between QD OLED versus just regular W OLED. I mean, bro, I don't think I really need to show much more or say anything else at this point. You can clearly see that on camera, and I know you can. Look at how dead Big Mom looks over there. Look at all of that. Dead, completely lifeless. This is Rec 709. This is what it does to pictures. It makes everybody look like they have seasickness. That's why I don't like Rec 709 calibrations. Now, of course, I have recently come under scrutinization by people like the Act Boy, who plays video games and doesn't know anything about televisions, and other YouTubers who are jealous, frankly, that we have members that pay for our settings and get the service here at Quantum TV to transform that ugly garbage into something that looks closer to this. But at the end of the day, nobody else is doing that. And when we look side by side, there is a big, big difference between Quantum.OLED versus what WOLED is producing. I mean, it's undeniable. I mean, I would never watch my C1 looking like this, ever. Now, there's good news. If you've already bought an LG C1, join the membership. It's $5. You'll see for yourself. You know what? I'll show you in real time. Watch what happens when I show you my settings, okay? This is what happens when I use BT 2020. There you go. It makes a big difference, but again, it's not gonna be as big of a difference as you have on the S95B. So as close as I can get you to that image, that's still gonna struggle. Now again, I'll show you where it was just a second ago so you guys can get the idea. But you're seeing what I'm saying, man. It's not what they're saying it is at all. I mean, look at that, dead, lifeless. You add a little bit more kickback into the lipstick, the makeup, the skin tonalities. You can fix some of that stuff with BT 2020. But if you don't, you're rocking this dead, lifeless look, man. This is the professional calibration that everybody talks so much about. Everybody looks like they have seasickness, man. I'm telling you, it's garbage. I mean, don't take my word for it. Just look at the difference. QD OLED to the left, regular OLED to the right. You will see this time and time again across multiple creators' videos. It's not even just me noticing this kind of stuff. It is massive, the amount of color loss that you get by comparison. It's huge. Undeniable, man. Like, literally undeniable. I mean, that's not going to stop publications from sitting up here and denying it. But you're seeing it in real time. Let's give you another clip. And you're seeing it in real time, man. Look at those colors. They pop, they punch, they hit so incredibly hard on the Quantum.OLED. Regular OLED looks seasick, quite literally now in this scene. I mean, really. Just look at Ratchet, bro. They don't like showing this kind of comparison. Everybody that is always saying, like, the Samsung S95B isn't great, fail to give detailed side-by-side comparisons like I've been doing here. They say, oh, it's not good according to Spears and Munsell, or according to a test pattern, or according to when I hooked up instruments, but they're not hooking up real-world content and showing you, like, side-by-side with this stuff running what it actually does. And I'm telling you, bro. Now, again, like I'm saying, we've got Rec 709 on the LG C1. This is how pretty much every single person buying their LG is going to be watching like. Meanwhile, on the S95B, everybody pretty much for the most part is going to be watching their television like this. I mean, granted, you're going to need my settings to do that. If you don't want my settings, Gucci, that's totally fine. You're going to have a lot of work you're going to have to put in to get it to get like this. That's also a fair statement to make. But at the same token, with both TVs being calibrated, I mean, you could totally see there is a massive difference. A massive difference. It's literally day and night. I'm looking at this on the camera and I'm still blown away because it almost looks like it does in real life with how big the difference is. Now again, you can go in and you can use BT 2020 to try to get the C1 closer, right? And this is what that would look like. We change it from auto colorimetry, which everybody rocks their TV on, by the way, during these comparisons, to something I would actually use, which BT 2020. It gets closer, it's better, colors are more vibrant now, but it's never, ever, ever, ever going to be as great as we have on the Samsung S95B. And that's something that they're not trying to show you. They're not trying to hear that. They are just, for whatever reason, not trying to hear these differences at all. Well, I tell you what, you want the best TV money can buy right now, you're going to be grabbing yourself the Samsung S95B. I've shown it off ad nauseum, and I'm doing it again here to really drive it home because I think everybody should have one of these in their home. It's a great TV. If you can get it, snag it on sale or whatever the case may be. You want my settings? You want to see how I get the picture to look this good? Join. It's $5. Do it for the C1 as well. Choice is yours. But regardless of all of that, there can be no denying the fact that the Samsung S95B is a juggernaut monster of a television, and that's all I'm here to say.